Hello, hello. Welcome to Colorado Cold Cases with Ctina. This is where BFF Beauty comes to our YouTube channel to just kind of step out of the norm of regular beauty stuff and talk about some other things that interest us. So we've developed this Cold Cases of Colorado with me, Ctina, of BFF Beauty. And tonight I'm going to do a look that was voted on the Queen of Hearts for a villainous from our BFF Beauty page on Facebook, and talk about this week's cold case topic. So this week we are going to be talking about the Blagg family. And this is a cold case missing persons, perhaps, situation with Abby Blagg. So this takes place in Grand Junction, Colorado, where the Blaggs had moved to in 2001 to a Redlands community earlier in 2001. So our case begins November 12th of 2001 when Jennifer and Abby Blagg were reported missing by Michael Blagg. So the story goes that on November 12th, about 7 p.m., Jennifer got a call from a neighbor. And then, you know, they kind of milled around. They put Abby to bed about 7 p.m. About 8 p.m., she got the call from the neighbor. They kind of milled around for a while, did the things they needed to do that night, and then went to bed. They were in bed by 10 p.m. Michael got up on November 13th and went to work at 6 a.m. And he got off work at 4 p.m. And he then, this look is a bit difficult. He then went straight home and called the police when he got home because things just looked odd in the circumstance. His wife was missing. There was some blood on the bed. His daughter was missing. And there was some money laying out and some jewelry, like a jewelry box had been scattered on the floor. Just some things, you know, looked in a disarray. This is a nice transition color. So he called the police. He had no idea what could have happened or what was going on. So he called the police. Someone that day had called the school, though, and reported Abby went to a Christian school, and they had reported that Abby would be missing that day from school. So we're still not 100% sure who the person was that called and reported Abby missing that day, but that is what was said. So they open this missing persons case initially, and they are doing searches. They're looking everywhere. There's some blood on the bed, some, you know, blood coagulated on the floor. They search the home. They take the computer from the home because, you know, the first suspect is usually the husband in the circumstance. So they do everything that they're supposed to do to just kind of cover the tracks, but they have no other leads in this situation. So in December of 2001, Michael decides he's going to move out of the home because this is just too much for him to live there under these circumstances. He was questioned, you know, and after he had moved in January, he reported that some jewelry was missing from when he moved. He didn't notice until then that some jewelry was missing. And around the next month, for some strange reason, Michael stole a shredder and a table from his job, which is pretty weird. He was kind of a blue-collar guy, got this great little job. She was a wonderful Christian mom. Their daughter went to a Christian school. They were very active in their church. Just these crazy, you know, like you wouldn't expect her to come up missing sort of situation. It just was kind of strange. I'll let this just a little darker. And no leads whatsoever. Well, Michael ends up losing his job over stealing this paper shredder. And I'm assuming all the questioning that's going on and the finger pointing that's happening, Michael, you know, they really probably just don't want what they thought to be a good Christian man working there at this point. So he was questioned then about the disappearance and did he possibly murder his wife. And the next day, he tried to kill himself. So lots of people say that that is, you know, hey, this guy trying to kill himself. Now he obviously did something to his wife. Something obviously happened. And where is his daughter? What has happened here? So, you know, people were finger pointing. The police were finger pointing. Everybody was finger pointing almost right from the start to the husband. Which, you know, statistics say that's the man, that's the person that initially would have done it, right? So, March of 2002, they now decide that Jennifer is no longer just a missing person, but she has obviously met with foul play, because if she would have just left, something would have happened by now. Somebody would have heard about them by now. Something, somewhere, right? That's what, you know, I mean, we would think. Well, June of 2002, they find Jennifer's body in a landfill. And here's the strange thing. So I don't know if you guys know, but landfills, they have grids. They have gridded ground areas, and they know where they've picked up, on what dates, what's been dumped where, from where was it picked up, and exactly where to find for what dates in what area of the landfill. So they find Jennifer's body, and it came from his work. They picked up something from his work, and Jennifer's body was in what was the landfill. Now, they said that his employees that worked with him said that Michael was moving a pretty big box, a heavy box, with a forklift, and they asked if he wanted some help. He was taking it over to the dumpster area, and he said no, he had it, and he went on with his, you know, situation. So that was all that was reported of that. A little fallout there. But all still very, very suspicious. When they found Jennifer's body, Michael was in Georgia with his mother. So why would he run off to his mom's in Georgia? Maybe he just didn't want to be alone, but if his family came up missing in Colorado, I would imagine I would stay in case anything was found out. However, he was tried in the situation. They found a little touch of blood on the step of the garage, and they found a tiny droplet of blood on the back bumper of the van that belonged to Jennifer. But they did not find any other evidence than that, and the hearsay of this employee to arrest him. But they arrested him, and he was tried, and he was found guilty, and was told he was gonna have a life sentence. Now, Jennifer's body was wrapped up in a tent, but they still have not found Abby at all, anywhere. So there's a crazy turn to this case. So, all right, cool. So they caught the killer. They believe the husband did it, but where is the little girl? And this whole time, Michael has maintained his story of innocence. He has no idea what happened. He came home and found that, and that was the last he knew of the situation. He has no idea what's gone on. He has no idea how Jennifer's body ended up in the landfill that was picked up from the dumpster at his work. He has no idea how any of that went on. No clue. But they found him guilty anyway. And now he's serving a life sentence. However, Bum, bum, bum. That can't be the end of it. Of course that can't be the end of it. So, story, the plot thickens, as some would say. The plot thickens. In 2018, they found out that a juror had lied on her jury form. And she had actually been in a domestic violence situation, which was one of the questions. And she lied and said she had not been. So the whole case was overturned. And it looked like he was going to go free. But they retried him. And they found him guilty again. And his appeal was overturned. So he was not able to appeal again, unless there's new evidence. But in this second trial, here's the kicker. Y'all ready? In this second trial, an FBI agent came to testify as well. And Michael Blagg took the stand himself to recount exactly what went on, because the first time he did not take the stand. So he wanted to recount exactly what had gone on and what he had done that day, which, by the way, everybody at his work said he was there. He can be accounted for from 5:40 in the morning until 4 p.m., which is the exact time frame. So how did he get rid of this body? They say he dumped it, but they never found Abby. So where is Abby? Where is her body? Where is she? What happened to her? This FBI agent takes the stand and says this is not a cold case. He does not believe Michael Blagg did this. He, in fact, believes that this is a human trafficking case. And he believes, though I don't know what evidence was presented, because obviously if there's an FBI case going, they're not going to give all the evidence in a trial that's open to the public. But apparently, he believes that they fell victim to Abby Blagg being targeted, and that the death of Jennifer is actually a side effect of targeting Abby and kidnapping her to traffic her. So now the plot thickens even more. You ready for this? This random crackhead guy who was on the run in a stolen vehicle coming through Colorado going into Utah, he testified when he was caught, or he gave a report when he was caught, that he had seen what he thought to be Abby Blagg in a gas station being held by what would be captors. And she looked very unhappy and walked into this gas station. He really believed that it was her. The girlfriend that was with him said that they did see a girl that resembled her, but thought he was lying about the rest of his story, that she looked distressed and that's what drew his attention to her or whatever. So they never followed that. But that was in Utah. So this FBI agent believes that Jennifer was murdered and Michael was framed. Ironically, when they confiscated Michael's computers, though, they found pornographic evidence and stuff on there that he said that they were looking at together because they were having sexual problems or whatever. But the police didn't believe that, obviously, because they arrested him, and he made some other statements that they were struggling in their marriage and stuff that made him feel, even though I think maybe he was just being an honest guy about it, I think they took it as, motive. But either way, Abby's body is still missing. And nobody has seen her. Could she possibly have been trafficked? Could this possibly be the real story? I'm not sure why they didn't listen to this FBI agent, or maybe there just wasn't enough evidence. But it's my understanding that there wasn't really enough evidence to try Michael Blagg either. And they found enough evidence to make it happen. Apparently watching porn and having sexual issues with your spouse is grounds to commit murder. That seems to be what their general thoughts are on it. In my mind, I think this FBI agent story sounds much more plausible. But then why would her body end up in the landfill being picked up from his work? That kind of doesn't make sense.